Since the first HIV is not a crime conference, another state has repealed their outdated HIV criminalization laws. But unfortunately, more people living with HIV are in jail because of these laws based on outdated science. That is going to continue to change if these committed activists have anything to say about it. Welcome to the most passionate AIDS conference in the country.
The second HIV is Not a Crime conference was twice as large as the first one held 2 years ago. Advocates care deeply about the three ways HIV criminalization is being used in the United States. First, HIV-specific laws against exposure to the virus. These are not only the controversial non-disclosure laws, which apply even when someone with HIV poses no risk to their partner. They have been used to prosecute people for biting and spitting on someone. Second, prosecution under existing laws becomes more severe. If you are HIV positive, a misdemeanor offense can become a felony. And third, sentencing enhancements. There are some statutes that allow sentencing to be lengthened simply because the person is living with HIV. Let that one sink in. This advocacy is not about excusing anyone for intentionally trying to harm someone else, but we have laws against hurting other people. The opening plenary put things into perspective right away by introducing us to people who have been prosecuted and featuring their family members on the panel, like this father, whose son is serving a 30-year sentence for non-disclosure.
He actually was meeting people through the app Grindr, and on his Grindr profile he did put on there that he was HIV positive, but that didn't make a difference.
And this mom who remains so proud of her son.
He's got a Bachelor of Psychology degree. He's been through his nursing school, and he's just missing so much. So much has been taken away from him.
Until individuals see how hard it is to disclose when you don't even know how to disclose, when you're not even educated, when no one has even came to us and actually gave us the tools of how to disclose.
I'm in Idaho. It's the Idaho State Correctional Center.
Kerry Thomas called in from prison in Idaho, where he is serving 27 years without having caused harm to anyone. And then, a surprise guest.
As president, I'll work to reform outdated and stigmatizing federal HIV criminalization laws.
I approve that message. Mary Fisher, the woman living with HIV who electrified the 1992 Republican Convention, shared some love.
Men and women who share my virus have been made objects of derision and destruction. There is no justice that can defend their accusers. And then you come, bearing witness to what is fair and right and just.
Then it was time to get to work. Sessions and working groups were held on changing policy, legislative strategy, messaging, and science. Strategy sessions by state were held, like this group from Colorado, who had just become the second state to reform their HIV criminalization laws.
We educated ourselves, and then we started talking to other people living with HIV who didn't feel that they were impacted by these laws, but we started breaking down how it could impact every single person living in the state of Colorado due to stigma, due to discrimination, due to fear for testing and finding out your status, because these laws all are about with knowledge of HIV.
We completely modernized our STI laws in Colorado and combined what used to be standalone laws specific to HIV. We folded those into all of the other general sexually transmitted infection laws so that we no longer stigmatize HIV by having special laws just for one virus.
With advocates from 34 U.S. states and 4 countries in attendance at HIV is Not a Crime, there was lots of perspective to share. I'll let these amazing folks speak for themselves.
HIV criminalization is also very interconnected with the criminalization of sex work, the criminalization of, people using drugs in whatever capacity they want to use them.
For me to be a person who is a policy person working on this issue on the federal level, that I take this on and make sure that, LGBT organizations are focusing on this very important topic.
Because we've already been criminalized because of our immigration status, country of origin, skin color, what sex you're born in, and being poor. And now, we've got to be criminalized because we want to go use the bathroom.
We have a bunch of prosecutions going on in Michigan, and literally I just met a young guy who was in jail for 7 months for not disclosing that he was HIV positive. And so it's starting to reach our young people. He was only like 22 years old. And so that really galvanized me personally because I could have been him.
People living with HIV can have sex, and these are we exist, and we can't just make assumptions that everyone's negative, even though just because they don't say their status.
And we shouldn't give in to the fear that the law is creating. We should still be able to have sex and enjoy our bodies and resist what's happening. So I think that's what I love about what you do.
My phone, exactly. It was, "You're HIV positive." They asked me, and I said, "Yeah," because it's no big deal. And after that, they said, "How did I give it to her?" She said, "I intentionally sneezed to intentionally spread HIV." At that point, they bagged my head and zip-tied it at the neck, and I was carried off to jail.
Communities being criminalized disproportionately, policed disproportionately. We're talking about communities of color, black and brown folks. We're talking about people being picked up for walking while trans. We're talking about folks being policed for doing sex work, for using drugs. And so these are the communities that are most vulnerable to criminalization independently of HIV. And they also happen to be the communities most likely to be living with HIV, right? So there are lots of ways, and that doesn't even get to all the ways the criminal justice system doesn't treat people fairly.
I can go get married now to another guy, walk out, get shot, can't get service because I'm positive. And I think there's some inherent racism there.
Today is the National Day of Action for Say Her Name. Say Her Name was a campaign created by young, queer black women tired of seeing black women being harassed by police officers. Tired of seeing black women unfairly incarcerated, right?
In which women with HIV are inherently seen as bad women, as deviant women, as women who can't possibly fulfill their role in a good society. And so the stigma, I think, is really exacerbated by these sort of misogynist stereotypes about women to begin with.
I'm very vocal, trust me. I make people listen. I really don't care what they think because you can't affect me. I'm living with HIV and you're not going to make me feel shamed.
For me, it's the embodiment of a dream of where the self-empowerment movement can go and how we can assure that real, true grassroots voice of what it is really like living with HIV in America today is heard and understood at the levels up here where policy is made and funding is decided.
When I see you, I am drawn to those two great questions. If not now, when? And if not you, who?